Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's show. We're lucky to have Robert again. Hey, Robert. What's up?
Oh, hello. There you go. There I am. Yeah, hello.
Hey.
Hi, Alessandro.
What's up? How's it going?
Good, thanks. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. And who do we have online today? We've got a couple of guests we want to bring in from Matrix Labs. We've got Alfred and Samreen. Hey, guys.
Two of my favorite people.
Aw, that means a lot.
So sweet.
Really cool to see you guys. Awesome. I've got my screen over there, so it's a bit weird because I have to turn around.
Yeah, no eye contact, you know?
How are you guys? Doing well?
Good.
Yeah.
So where are you guys? Where are you right now in this lockdown?
Well, I'm in Miami in our headquarters. Well, not my headquarters. Here in Miami Beach, just alone. Yeah. And then Sam.
Oh, yeah. So I'm in Bangladesh in my kind of childhood home. Was here for a long time. I don't know how many years, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. I have a new coworker, my sister, and my parents, new coworkers. And so, you know, it's been fun. It's been interesting.
Samreen, you say childhood home. Are those all of your medals up there to your, is that your right or your left?
Oh my God, no, those are my sisters. But
okay.
I swear I have just as many. They have been put away in a drawer because I'm the older child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hiding the talents.
Yep.
And putting them in your room so that you see them.
Yep.
Hey, sibling rivalry.
No, we don't have rivalry. She's actually going to be my model for all the upcoming Matrix creator videos. So keep an eye out. Just saying.
Cool. So do you guys want to tell us a bit about yourselves and what do you do?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm the innovation manager at Matrix Labs. I do it's a lot of random things like operations-wise, helping with the manufacturing of our devices, certification, and then a lot of marketing and vision of like where we're going and just designing assets. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're in Innovation Coffee. So later we'll ask you about innovation, given that you're an innovation manager. So I want to hear about that afterwards.
Okay.
Get ready.
And where's the coffee, by the way?
I drank mine this morning. I have water. Is that okay?
Okay. There. Samreen's ready.
I feel so unprepared.
It's all right. And I think it's Samreen's turn now. So.
Yeah. Well, this is empty. I just had some like tea. I hope that counts. But yeah, so I'm the product and community manager at Matrix Labs, and basically like that's dealing with the community, you know, whether it's support or like, you know, making projects or things like that, and also like product related, like, you know, coming up with projects, doing fun stuff, working on new things, which is always fun, and you know, any investment related things. Basically, a lot of things that need to get done because that's what startups are all about.
Awesome. Really cool to hear about you know, the different things that you guys are doing. And the reason why we love you so much is because actually you've got an amazing community that does a lot of cool stuff, and both of you are really active in the community. And you know, I'm excited to hear about what's going on with the latest news about Matrix and the community. So yeah, I guess, Robert, shall we start with some interesting questions? Shall we start with you go on?
So I was actually thinking, you know, to start this off, if one of you could just give like that 2-minute elevator pitch for Matrix Labs, because there might be people watching who don't know what Matrix Labs is, and then we can dive into, you know, the cool tech that you have, I'm sure, right on your desks out of the camera's view.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Alfred do the pitch. Go, Alfred.
Okay, cool. So essentially what Matrix Labs is, it's a hardware development platform with the whole idea of trying to make it easier for people to do things with hardware. Specifically, we've made these boards, Matrix Voice here. Goes like right on a Raspberry Pi. Disregard the relay that's connected to it. You'll find out later. And then the Matrix Creator, which I forgot to get. Oops. But Sam can show you the Matrix.
I have one.
You want to show it, Sam?
I'll put you in front so you can. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Very
so
nice.
Boards are packed full of sensors, an ARM Cortex-M3, Xilinx FPGA, 8 microphones, LEDs. On the Matrix Creator, it has like temperature sensors, humidity, Zigbee, and Z-Wave. And then we've made the entire software stack so that it's really easy to program it. So whether you want to do that in JavaScript, in Python, in Ruby-ish, that's still in development, C++, we've made it really easy for you to just go in there and start programming it. It could be literally as simple as 2 lines, an import statement, and then turn the LEDs on if you want. Yeah, so that's the whole idea of Matrix. And then we have a big community. We have about 1,000 people on our community site talking, posting questions, us answering, of course, and the community members answering, requesting features, even like sending us pull requests to our GitHub, because all of our software is open source. So we have people constantly sending in like new features to do. Like one was being able to use the microphones via multiple applications, which was amazing. That was like really complicated kernel development in order to do that, and that's a community member did it. So yeah, that's Matrix. So
did you mention that it works with the Raspberry Pi?
Yeah. So it goes right onto a Raspberry Pi. So
and this can be used as a hat or on its own.
Correct. Yes. So the Matrix Voice. So Matrix Creator has to go on a Raspberry Pi, but the Matrix Voice has its own little microprocessor with some RAM and flash, and so that's able to run on its own.
So Alfred, I know you and I have had conversations about this on several occasions at mini conferences, but one of the things I find very interesting about this particular board, I think both of them, in fact, is that they are both certified to be used in products, right? Is that correct?
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
This caters to both people who might just be makers, wanting to just turn on some LEDs, have some fun building an at-home project. Then it also caters to people for that path to product, for people who develop something and then say, hey, you know what? This is not a one-off, but it's also not hundreds of thousands. Let's put 1,000 of these inside of our product and at least try this proof of concept on a larger scale.
Exactly. It's that like in-between niche where like if you're a small company, you don't have the resources necessarily to go making thousands of boards. So it ends up being cheaper to get something already made. And in our case, we've made it really easy for them people, like certifying it worldwide. So if they want to put it into a product, they don't have to go through a lot of the crazy certifications, which costs tens of thousands of dollars and take months sometimes. And we currently have companies doing it. Like there's one company called DeepScribe out of California, and they essentially transcribe doctor-patient interactions in a doctor's office. So instead of the doctor having to be on the computer, like typing up all the notes, they can just be talking to you. And the Matrix Voice in this case is recording all the audio, and then they are using algorithms on their side to transcribe it intelligently, knowing that like, oh, the doctor said this and that, and then actually like putting out what was prescribed and everything.
Cool. So let me ask you one thing. So my understanding is that you've got a big vision for Matrix Labs, right? And I think it is connected to innovation and enabling others, right? So I'm really curious to know what do you think is important to enable others when it comes to product development? I mean, in your experience with the community, what's important, what's fundamental? What do you need to provide in order for others to kind of take off and actually develop products as you're seeing in your community?
I mean, one of the major things I'd say is simplicity. Like the less things that you need to do or worry about when you're developing a product, the better. because that's like, I mean, it's less resources on your side, time-wise, money, having to hire engineers, or if you yourself like know certain things, but now you don't have to go researching about kernel development to get microphones working. Having something really simple is key. Yeah, and then obviously affordable, because our boards are $65, $75, $110. They don't cost that much for what they provide. And of course, like we were saying earlier, if you're going to go out manufacturing, that's going to cost way more than that, just in tooling and everything. Do you have any comments, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered it mostly. I think like the most important thing is just like listening to what the community says, right? Because like they know what they want. So like, but the community at the same time has a wide range of users. Like there's people that really want to get into the nitty gritty of like FPGA programming or kernel programming because they want that level of like customization because they're their solution of the product that they want to build using ours needs that level of like sophistication, right? And so in that case, how like we want to make it easy for them to access those, but also we want to make it easy for somebody who's like in high school and like wants to build something cool and maybe productize it. Who knows, right? So it's I think for the Matrix Create and Matrix Voice, because they're so used by such a wide variety of people, it really varies. Like. But what we've tried to do is like even have the super technical like FPGA Verilog or like kernel stuff accessible, and then also have like abstractions on top of that, so the people that want to do it quickly without having to think about all the nitty gritty can do it, and definitely like it's just about listening to what the community says over time and like conglomerating that information and continuously acting on it.
Yeah.
Cool. And I mean, it's really cool because the interface that you have for actually developing on the Matrix lab or both the Matrix boards is actually really, really intuitive, really easy, and you can get started really quickly. And then I guess it's kind of like an onion, right? You could remove the kind of top layers and go into the nitty gritty when and if you need to. And it's interesting because you said Cortex-M's on there, but you also got an FPGA, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, big potential there with the FPGA. And how do you see, in terms of the community, how do you see people? I mean, is there enough people that actually are able to get into the FPGA and make modifications in that, or you provide enough blocks for the FPGA to kind of to remove the complexities there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the FPGA we have right now on our boards is the Spartan 6, which unfortunately is just before the version where they start using, you're able to use Vivado, where you have these blocks for IP and things like that, right? So it's super difficult for people to say, the ARM Cortex-M1 architecture, right? Like that's open now, right? And then the M3 is also open now, right? So like those are difficult to put on the Spartan 6 as easily because you don't have that drag and drop interface, right? So that's something like we would have to really like write the code and provide the Verilog for our users if they want to be able to do that. So right now what we have in terms of making it accessible is like all our Verilog code is open source, but also we have like a basic Hackster guide which shows people how they can get started with editing our code, like even making sense of it, editing something small, like routing a Raspberry Pi GPIO up to like a Matrix Voice GPIO, right? Because the Matrix Voice takes up all the pins, but they're like physically, but there are some pins that are open in terms of functionality. And so you can actually, through the FPGA, route that to the Matrix Voice. I really should have come with a device in my hand. Route that to the Matrix Voice extension GPIO. So, that we have that very simple example, but what we found is like a majority of people who end up using the FPGA it turns out they're researchers. Like a lot of them, like on the community, like they ask such difficult questions. Like they have PhDs. I don't have a PhD. So, when they ask me questions, sometimes I really like, it's really interesting because I'll have to study up a little bit. I'll have to try to figure things out. I'll have to ask our hardware engineers. And, they'll ask about like changing frequencies in the FPGA or like, I don't know, things that I'm still an FPGA noob. So it's super interesting because I'm learning as well as trying to help people at the same time. And it's been an interesting dynamic because as somebody new, it's like since I'm learning, I can, as I learn, try to help the community, people who are at a similar level as I am, to learn along with me by like releasing guides whenever I figure things out or things like that.
Awesome. While you were talking, I grabbed the matrix I got
Nice.
here. Yeah.
I feel bad. I didn't have mine, but you have yours.
See?
I have mine.
I love how you have that Matrix Creator on the shelf behind you. I watch it, like I see it every Innovation Coffee episode I've seen.
Is that what you? Is that what yours is?
I have one on the ceiling.
What?
So I like
What is that
3D
doing
print.
there?
What?
What is that doing there?
So this is a projector. The white part is a projector. Above that is an Apple TV, and at the top is the Matrix Creator and Raspberry Pi. So I 3D printed and designed a whole mount for it, and then wired it up so that the projector can be turned on and off, and the angle of it adjusted with the Matrix Creator.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
So that's for mine.
Yeah, Alfred's home is like a makerspace of Matrix projects.
I was actually going to ask. I mean, I didn't prepare you, so I'm not sure if you are prepared. But I was going to ask you to walk us around your house with and show us like what you've got lying around. If you're prepared, I mean, I didn't mention it before. So
if you're wearing pants,
I am wearing pants. I am. So I mean, I have that one, and it's kind of bright in here, and also you're on my big iMac.
Okay, that's fine.
I can't really walk around with you, but I have this little project here. So this is a guide that we're remaking. Well, I'm remaking using. It's basically a voice-controlled light switch. So here's a relay. Your light switch wires would be connected to the wires here, and then the Matrix voice, you're able to talk to it and turn the lights on and off. So I have it working now. I think I just turned it on SSH DEN. So let's see. Porcupine, lights on, and then this will flick. Did you get it? It did.
Yeah,
get
we did.
It was already on. Let me try off. Porcupine, lights off.
Woo! It worked.
Well, it's detecting it. I'm trying to think. Maybe I forgot how to call it. Maybe I'm saying the wrong thing. I think it's.
Wait, when you say porcupine, that's when the matrix lights turn on to tell you that it's listening, right?
Yeah. So porcupine is like the hot word. Yeah.
So I want to kind of address. Oh, sorry, Samarine.
No, right. It uses Pico Voice, which I think is an ARM partner or something like that. So I just wanted to say that.
Nice. Yeah. So I guess I kind of want to talk about a little bit the whole fact that we're working on the edge here, right? So you're talking about like creating your own edge device to control IoT devices around your home. And these are things that, you can do, of course, with like, your Google Home, your Alexas and things like that, right? But for people who are interested in privacy and actually creating their own things to do this kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe could you talk about that a little bit and how this is kind of facilitating people's ability to kind of branch away from these, let's call them the FANG companies, the companies that are, basically controlling all the.
Yeah, the big three. Yeah, definitely. So, that's a big advantage of this. This is the voice service running on this is an amalgamation of a bunch of services to do the natural language understanding, to do the wake word, and it's all combined into a service called Raspy, which is super easy to use. And the big advantage of it is the privacy focus, right? It's all running on the Raspberry Pi itself. I can disconnect it from Wi-Fi and it'll run perfectly fine. I won't be able to update it since you update it. Actually, yeah, you update it through a web interface and download some things. But yeah, the web interface is local. So technically, you could do it on your LAN without being connected to the WAN internet. Yeah, so that's a big advantage to this. You know, when you use Alexa or Google, it does like the wake word on board, but then everything else is sent to the cloud, and then you don't really know what else they're sending to the cloud when you're not wanting it to. And then they record it, and there's been these issues. So when we're loading our houses with all these devices, in our offices potentially with them, and there are private sanctums. We don't exactly want them, all the audio and whatever getting out. So yeah, you have comments, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, you covered it. We used to love this offline voice assistant called Snips, which got acquired. But there are other ones that are coming up out there, like Porcupine. Pico Voice. We mainly use the wake word in Raspi, which is Porcupine. Well, that's the wake word. And then there's a bunch of other ones. There's something called Deep Speech, which is Mozilla, which is by Mozilla, and basically they use TensorFlow Lite actually to create the deep speech models, and that is something that we're trying to, that we have gotten working with our Matrix devices, and we're probably going to release a guide soon. But that's super interesting because it's actually the community, the Mozilla community, that has been like providing their voice data, and that is what they're using to train the models, and they're actually very accurate. And that's mainly speech to text, and then you can use like other things for the natural language understanding and keyword spotting and all of that stuff. Yeah, great.
And that service we're using on here is also all open source, so you can check out all the code and modify it and contribute to it.
Awesome. We're getting a lot of questions actually on the software that you're running on the edge. I mean, one of the questions from Matthew is everything actually running on the edge? I think you just answered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is so it's interesting because there is an evolution in the capabilities of these these CPUs that can actually run a lot of voice recognition right on the CPU itself. I mean, I guess, can you guys touch on the difference between the training and the inference, and how that allows you to run on the edge? I guess what I'm getting at is the fact that now you can train on offline. You can train online, on a big cloud server or on your big computer. But then what you could do is you could actually deploy on the edge and run inference on the edge. So you're not actually, you're not running the whole computing on the edge. What you're doing is just doing the operations that allow you to do the classification on the edge. And that's what allows you to actually run, these models on the device itself. So yeah, that's really interesting. That's a big trend that we're seeing, all over the place. And it's cool that you guys are enabling that with a lot of different softwares. I mean, since I've known you guys, you've probably used all the open source softwares that were available, and like really made it easy for people to kind of take the different boards that you have and actually play around with the software. So that's, thumbs up for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like so fun that we can use other people's software with our devices, like in tandem, right? Like Snips, Raspi, like this is like all open source voice projects that are out there that we can leverage because our boards have these 8 mics that that you can then use to like do all this like fun stuff, right? And then you can also, because our boards have other capabilities as well, then you can have reactions, right? You can have intent, like once you do intent parsing, you can react to that using sensors or GPIOs, whatever, right? You have all this like all this capability at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. You mentioned Alessandro. I'm sorry. Is there anything like scheduled that are we going to go into another demo? Samreen, you have another demo?
I do have another demo. It's not scheduled, so we can do whatever.
Okay, I just have one more question.
Should away. Yeah, no, I mean, Robert, go on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I think, Alfred, you said something about Mozilla IoT and that you're working with Mozilla to possibly enable some stuff there. I'm curious because they have a really cool framework, WebThings Gateway, WebThings framework. They have a cool project basically going on. And so if you say you're working with them, is this what you're trying to enable on the Matrix Creator?
So that's the demo Sam actually has.
Oh, okay, all right. That's what I'm talking about.
Guys, this wasn't prepared. I mean, it sounds like it was all planned, but it wasn't.
Oh yeah, this is awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been talking to the folks from Mozilla IoT for a while. I mean, back when I was with 96 boards, and so now to actually, it just happened. There you go. Cool.
You wanna show us
I'm
what you
ready.
got?
Oh, should I show you guys now?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see, how do we do this? I'll share my screen. I can't do video and share screen at the same time, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I can. Okay, cool. So I'll share screen. And let's see, application window, share screen. Okay, share. All right. So,
Ready.
oops. Do you all see this? This is the gateway. Okay. Do you all see the gateway?
Yeah.
I feel blind. Okay, so so this is the Mozilla IoT Gateway. Super fun. So Snips, even though it has been deprecated, there was an add-on that. So basically, the way the Mozilla IoT Gateway works. If I'm speaking too fast, please let me know. It happens when I get excited. Okay, so this is the Web Things Gateway. So they have a bunch of tabs. You can make rules. You can like log things. You can so you can like create a log for data, things like that. So Matrix Creator, you can like log pitch. It's honestly, they have a lot of cool visualizations. You can upload a floor plan for your house because this is like for home automation and things like that. But basically what we did was we made an add-on for the Matrix Creator. So you can see all of the sensor data. Okay, so I'm going to move the camera so people can see the Matrix Creator. So like if you can see the screen and the Matrix Creator, like say this is pitch.
Pitching.
And we have a rule that says when the Matrix Creator pitch is greater than 60, say pitching, and that's what's happening.
Pitching.
But I mean, it's just a silly rule, but just to show the functionality. But basically, the gateway also has so the rules, right? This is where I need the rules. We actually did this for a conference called IoT Features in April. So you can make rules, so it's basically drag and drop. So I have the reason Snips works is because they already had the language models and all of that stuff, like kind of installed in the yeah, they already have that installed on GitHub, and it just pulls it. So it still works. The long-term goal with Mozilla IoT is to get this exact thing working with deep speech instead. And that's the idea. But for the workshop that we did in April, we used the Snips app that already existed. But yeah, so I just have like a simple rule saying, okay, on Snips, if there's like a one timer, then turn the Matrix Creator green. So if I say, hey Snips, set a timer for 30 seconds.
The timer is set for 30 seconds.
So the Matrix Creator color turns green, and yeah, so it's a simple rule. So it'll be green for 30 seconds, and then it'll turn off. And this is the rule where it says pitching, where if like Matrix Creator pitch is greater than 60, it'll say pitching. But you can do cooler things. This is just an example. But yeah, so this is what the Snips add-on looks like. Hopefully with deep speech, it'll look. It'll have more configurability because it won't be deprecated anymore. But yeah, the idea was the proof of concept, and so yeah, that's all I wanted to show. This is what we did in the workshop at IoT Fuse, and I think people generally enjoyed it. So, and I think it's a cool thing because even though this part itself is simple, it shows the possibilities of you being able to create rules. For example, you can say like if like the sensor reading on the Matrix Creator is doing X, like for example UV, it has a UV sensor. You can say like if the UV sensor senses like sunlight, then turn off my lights. You can do that in the Mozilla IoT Gateway, right? Which is really cool.
That's awesome. So I saw that you had different rules, right? Do they all work concurrently?
Sorry, I missed that.
I saw that you had different rules running, right? Do they all? So you implemented these different rules in different areas of the Mozilla web things, and then but they all run at the same time, right?
Yes, they all run at the same time, which is super fun. And you can do like if rules and while rules. So like while it was like, okay, like while there's a timer running, turn the LEDs on. So like while something is happening, do something. But once that's done, it doesn't happen anymore. And then there's if, where like if it turns on, it'll stay on. So like it doesn't have a lot of granularity, but it's still like a lot to play with, especially if you have lots of components, right? If you have like a Zigbee light bulb, a smart a Wi-Fi switch, and all this stuff, like it can be super fun to configure your home with just drag and drop rules, right?
Awesome. That's really cool. I mean, it's really cool to see it live as well. It's nice to know that it works. It works well, and it's easy to use. Is that software? I mean, is that demo actually available? Can someone look at it offline?
Yeah, so it actually works locally. Like, it doesn't need Wi-Fi or anything like that. You can if you want. Is that what you're asking?
I mean, do you have the code somewhere?
Oh yes. Yeah. So there's the add-on, the Matrix Creator add-on that is on this demo hasn't officially been pushed to Mozilla IoT, but we have it on our GitHub. And well, thank you, Luis. I didn't create the project myself though. Carlos definitely helped a lot. Majority of he created the add-on. I just did the project. It was very simple once he created the add-on. But yeah, so the Matrix Creator add-on is on our GitHub, and then we also have a custom image, like this exact image, online on our GitHub. So people who just want to download the image, flash it, and have it all working can.
Awesome. You're getting a lot of we're getting a lot of positive comments from people watching the video. Matthew is really happy to see all this. So cool. I mean, go check out the website, I guess, right? You got a lot of stuff on the website. So yeah, absolutely. Like, you guys should all check out the matrix.com, or no, actually, sorry, is it matrix.one?
Not one.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting.
And I think we should actually give a quick shout out to Carlos, who unfortunately isn't on the call. But hey, Carlos.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to Carlos. He developed most of the abstractions and easy things that make it super fun for people to use.
Yeah, plus all the documentation, so many of the Hackster guides. His contribution is immeasurable.
Yeah, next time we have you guys on, we'll bring Carlos on as well. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had a little segue that I wanted to show you a couple of pictures of places you've been at. Let me see if just give me 1 second. Robert, you might want to.
What's the name of this? What's the name of this segment, Alessandro?
What's the name of this segment?
Do you have a clever name for it?
Where were you?
So okay. While he's setting this up, I do actually have a question. So when we're looking at the both creator and the voice, right? Hardware devices, developer boards, and built with tons of sensors, right? Do you have a number? How many sensors are on? Let's just say the creator.
So it's an accelerometer, gyroscope, magnetometer, IR, UV, humidity, pressure, temperature, and then 8 microphones.
Okay.
And then, a bunch of input outputs, PWM and analog on the for the expansion GPIOs that it has.
Okay, so there is enough I/O there, and that was basically the question. And coming to that, like, have you ever been confronted or asked, hey, in your next iteration, could you add this sensor, or how do I add these sensors to the board? So that's kind of my question is there a next iteration with more sensors? How would you add more sensors to the board, et cetera?
So right now, you can just add sensors by connecting it to the GPIO. When we're at conferences, people have requested next iterations to have like a carbon monoxide sensor, or like a the proximity sensor, the ultrasonic. So there are ideas. We have ideas for future boards that I cannot disclose at the moment, but things are in the works.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the I/O on the board. I can't see it. I'm not sure where it is, but maybe on another time you could show me.
It's on the back for the creator. It's on the back.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That's why I'm looking at the top side on the site.
Yeah, it's right.
There you go. Okay, I see it. Nice.
Cool. So, guys, I'm ready. So, I guess this is a really quick kind of. I want like your opinions of where you were, and I guess what was in your mind when what were you thinking, and what kind of I guess what interesting interactions did you have in this place or in this instance? Let me just put this up.
So this is In the future, Alessandro, we need to have a soundboard button with the, we hit it and it goes, "Where were you?"
Yeah, we should create that. Try to not infringe any sound. So first one, where were you here?
Ooh.
This is conference room.
Yeah, of our office.
Our office, yeah.
What were you organizing though? Or
Oh,
what were you
this
getting
was
ready
ARM Dev Day 2019.
This was, I think, the night before. We were there. It was just me, Carlos, Sam in the office late at night, practicing it with Carlos, making sure like everything works. We took over the entire conference room for this, set up our professional mic that we use for live streams, and then 3 screens so he could be switching between things, seeing his notes, to provide a really cool ARM Dev Day presentation that we did last year, which we actually won a little award for, which I wish I was in the office. I'd show it to you guys now. But yeah, that was super fun.
And how many people? I mean, you had a lot of people on the workshop, right? It was quite interesting. What was do you remember any feedbacks or any kind of any cool ideas that people came up with, or things that people kind of told you about?
You remember?
A great question, Alessandro. I think a year has made it a little hazy.
It's a year ago. It's fine. Let's move on to this other one. I mean, this is interesting because I don't actually have the names of the places, but do you guys remember this?
Yeah, it looks like this year's, right, Alfred?
Yeah, that was this year's.
Well, 2019, I guess.
Well, yeah, 2019.
But ARM TechCon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite cool to see how many boards you have on there and all the different demos that you guys have built. What did you have on there?
Oh, do you remember, Alfred? Do you want to go, or do you want
Tell me something cool.
Yeah, so we have a robot arm there that is kind of set up to look like the Pixar lamp. So it has like 6 degrees of freedom, and it'll pick up a lamp that has a Zigbee bulb in it. So you can tell it robot on. It'll pick up the lamp, and as it turns to like see you, the light will turn on through Zigbee on the Matrix Creator. Another demo we had there, we had Google Assistant and Alexa running, but for one of the two, we had a NFC card set up, which you can see on the Matrix. The second Matrix Creator on the bottom left, it has a little red NFC tag on it. And we were using that as a physical like mute switch for Alexa or Google Assistant. So you can have it running on our devices. We have guides for it. It's really easy. But if you still want to have control over when they're hearing you, we set it up so that with the NFC tag, it will mute the microphones. Like not through Google Assistant, but just in general, it'll go through, ALSA, and mute the microphones. So that was a really cool demo. And then
I remember one that you had. That was, I think this was during this conference. I came up to your booth. You gave me a little sticker that I was able to put on my badge, and you programmed that sticker to go to a URL that I wanted, and then people could take their phone, tap it up against my sticker, and it would take their browser right to. I had it go to the Discord channel, right, the DevEco Discord channel. But that was a really cool demo. I don't know, maybe you want to talk about that one for a quick sec. Or yeah, I just kind of talk about the whole thing.
Thanks for bringing that up. I kind of forgot about NFC when I was listing the sensors on the board. But yeah, it has an NFC reader writer. We have a really nice library for you to actually be able to use it. We've our Carlos and Boris from our team abstracted all of the crazy libraries from NXP, which had horrible documentation, but they spent a lot of time abstracting that so that it's really easy to read things. You could read like the data on an Amiibo from like Nintendo. I think they're encrypted, so I don't think you can actually see the code on it and replicate it. But you could try to read a little bit from it.
An Amiibo, for those of you who don't know, is a little kind of doll for Nintendo that you can create little AI models of your play styles.
Yeah, it's like it's a figurine. And
Yeah, a little figurine. There you go.
buy them, and then when you put it on your Nintendo Switch, it'll like read the NFC tag on it, and then get that character in the game.
Yeah, and I had an amiibo, a Link amiibo for Smash Brothers that used to really kick my butt. At some point, he got too good. Yeah.
No.
Right, I've got the last question. The last picture. Ready?
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
Only the two of you.
2019, I think.
Sorry. Okay.
That was also 2019, I believe.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Voice Summit in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. When was it? It was like in June or August. I don't remember. But yeah, that was a really cool conference, all for voice, and we were within the ARM booth. It was what?
As usual.
As usual, yes. We love collaborating with you guys. And of course, the robot arm. And then what you're pointing to, Alessandro, is this basically, you want to explain it, Sam?
Yeah, sure. So this was actually also open source. It's actually a PhD student's thesis project. It's called Open Embedded Audio System, ODAS. And basically what it is it's this really cool, like, that's a visualization, but I'm just gonna tell you what the tech is. He uses like insane algorithms like spatial filtering and all this stuff. Like if you look at the algorithms in the code, it will blow your mind. He uses really complex algorithms to be able to pinpoint the XYZ location and energy of a sound source. So like it's insane. So basically, if I'm talking and the Matrix Creator running with the Raspberry Pi, or the Matrix Voice with the Raspberry Pi running the ODAS is here. If I'm talking from here, it will identify exactly where I am. If there's two people talking, it'll be able to show two people talking. So it can do this in code, and then he created this great visualization tool where you can 360 degrees see everywhere where the sound is coming from, the frequencies of it. It's insane. It takes up a lot of processing power. Better on the Pi 4 because there's more processing now. But it is such a cool demo. Just the fact that you can do that is insane.
And let me see if I can share my screen real quick. Share screen. Oh no, okay, it's not gonna let me. I'll post a link that you guys can, it's for a Hackster guide that we have for ODAS. And it has a GIF in it that shows you the microphones responding with ODAS, and then the LEDs on the Matrix Voice lighting up to where a cup is being moved, like screeched along the table.
Wow, Alessandro, I'm impressed with you. You put the link up there so quickly.
No, Rachel is helping in the background.
Oh, thank you, Rachel.
Rachel was quick. Awesome. So, I mean, one thing I wanted to mention, actually, you guys have a lot of projects that are being posted on Hackster as well. So, if you go to Matrix Labs on Hackster, you'll find quite a lot of projects on there. It's actually quite impressive, different types of projects. Maybe next time we can dig into like some cool community projects. Be interesting to see what the community is building. I wanted to give you a chance to do a shameless plug and talk about.
Yay!
And talk about. I'll remove me and Robert, so I'll give you more space for a second there, and you can talk about what you're doing there.
Cool.
Wow! I feel singled out. We're singled out.
Yeah.
Do you wanna say, or should I say?
Sure.
Okay, go. So we have. So we've been part of a parent company, AdMobilize. Not sure if people know this. It's basically an ad analytics company. Alpha could tell you more about that. But basically, this year, early this year, we split off, and we're now our own entity, and therefore we are raising a seed round so we can bring more stuff for you. And this is a shameless plug for that. If you want to know about it, / are interested, reach out to us. Go to our website. You can reach out to us on our email, and then also you can check out. We have basically basics of the fundraise on Fundable. The link is, it's right there, fundable.com/matrix-labs. So yeah, please check it out, and let us know if you want to talk about it, or just
Yeah, looking for investment.
And what's cool is that you're doing this as a crowdfunding campaign, right? So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, everything we've done is kind of crowd-funded. Like the Matrix Creator, we launched it on Indiegogo first, and that raised like $30K. The Matrix Voice, we launched on Indiegogo, and that raised, I think, $130K. That was like 1,000 times over what we were asking. So now we're launching one for ourselves so that we can bring even more things to you, looking into doing more things software-wise. I'm not going to say what, but invest in us, and we'll give you a sneak peek.
One
this
thing
looks-
we can say. Oh, sorry. Go
Oh no, please.
One thing we can say is that it's to enable developers and enterprises, so it will benefit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like right now you're looking for accredited investors. I don't know if I qualify as one of those people, but if you do get funded, when you get funded and IPO, I will buy your stock. That's
Great.
for sure.
Awesome.
Yes, I definitely would love to participate in that. But yeah.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, we're looking for accredited investors, but there's no minimum limit. So
I see.
it could be you now if you want. You're just saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
not sure
cool.
what that process is, but yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm on the site right now. It definitely looks well made. So I'll definitely be reading into it more.
Awesome. Well, guys, it was really cool to have you on the show. And I mean, there's so many other things I want to ask you. So, I mean, for everybody watching, I think we can safely say that we'll have you back at some point, probably very soon, because there's a couple of more questions I want to ask you, and I want to really see like what the community is building. So, yeah, I think there's going to be another show soon. So,
Awesome.
thank you, guys. Do you have any last words, any last comments or thoughts that you wanted to share?
No, I mean, thank you for having us. This has been fun. I've been alone in my apartment, so great thing to do. But yeah, this has been great. Looking forward to maybe we can do more virtual things together in the future. This or restart our live stream that we've kind of put on pause. But yeah, check out our YouTube, check out our Hackster, our Twitter @matrix_creator. Yeah.
Note to self, Alessandro. Alfred's bored, so we can ask him to help with stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for having us. This has been fun, and always love chatting with you all. And a public chat is just all the more interesting.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
we got a couple of requests. So there is Matthew. Actually, I should have done it the other way. There is I Shot JR that asks for a daily innovation coffee.
Oh,
And
wow.
Matthew that says that daily would be an absolute fever dream in a good way. So we'll see.
yeah, no.
Maybe we could do more of these. Well,
Yeah.
It's entertaining, and like you learn things, which is super fun.
Mhm.
It's
it was really fun to have you guys. Robert, any last words?
No, yeah, yes, actually. Thank you, Alfred, Samreen, as always. I mean, I have lots of very fond memories hanging out with you two at mini conferences, and with this whole COVID thing going on, it's just such a pleasure to get to see you and know that both of you are healthy and well, and I'm wishing you and your families the best. And yeah, if you need anything, reach out to me. You know how to find me on the Discord, and if you need anything else, just, I look forward to doing this more with you. It's been awesome. I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Guys, it was a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Time to sleep.
Bye.